Welcome to the Deep Dive. We're here to really cut through the noise and get straight to the insights you need to be genuinely well-informed.
Exactly.
So today, we're plunging into, well, a corner of the global economy that, frankly, most people don't think about much. The rapidly growing plastic pipe market.
Right. Seems niche, but it's everywhere.
It is. And we're basing this deep dive on some pretty detailed market projections from Cognitive Market Research. This covers trends all the way from 2021 right through to 2033.
A good long view.
Yeah. And our mission here is basically to pull out the most important nuggets of knowledge, maybe some surprising facts from these insights. We want to give you a shortcut to understanding an industry that's just, well, crucial for global infrastructure and development.
Absolutely. It might not grab headlines, but it underpins so much.
Definitely shaping our world, even if unseen.
And, beyond just the raw numbers, what we're really going to explore is what these projections tell us about deeper global trends. Things like the major growth drivers.
Right.
And perhaps even some unexpected shifts in development patterns around the world. It's a perfect example, really, of how looking closely at one seemingly, specific sector can actually illuminate so much more about how our societies are evolving.
Okay, let's dive in then. The big picture first.
Yeah.
The global plastic pipe market. And this isn't just steady growth, it feels more like a quiet boom almost.
That's a good way to put it.
So back in 2021, this market was already valued at, get this, over $31 billion.
Wow. Already significant.
Yeah. By 2025, that's projected to climb to nearly $38 billion. But here's the really compelling part. By 2033, the market is expected to reach a remarkable $56.9 billion.
Huge jump.
It is. That's a global compound annual growth rate, or CAGR, of 5.18% over that whole period.
And what's fascinating there is that consistent upward trajectory. It's not just growth in, abstract terms. It's almost a proxy for where the world is literally laying new foundations.
That's a great point. Laying foundations.
Yeah. This kind of sustained expansion in plastic pipe demand signals a pretty fundamental global need, right? It points directly to massive shifts worldwide urbanization, obviously.
Sure, that's a big one.
The relentless pace of industrialization, and just significant infrastructure investments everywhere. And think about things like, smart cities needing advanced piping for data cables and utilities, or even how climate change is driving demand for more resilient, corrosion-resistant plastic pipes, especially in coastal areas.
Interesting connection to climate resilience.
Definitely. These are underlying drivers that aren't always obvious just from looking at, say, the urbanization trend alone.
Okay, so from that impressive global view, let's zoom in a bit. What's driving this growth in North America?
Okay.
This market was valued at around $8.8 billion in 2021. It's projected to reach over $15.2 billion by 2033. That's growing at a solid CGR of 4.745%.
Still very healthy growth.
Yeah. And digging into the country specifics, the United States, as you might expect, it's still the largest segment, projected to hit over $12.1 billion by 2033.
Right. The giant.
But here's maybe a subtle insight. While the U.S. is big, Canada actually shows slightly stronger growth. Its COG is 5.161%.
Oh, interesting. A bit faster.
Yeah. And Mexico is also on a robust upward trend, growing at nearly 5% annually, too.
That's an interesting point about Canada's slightly higher CEGR. I mean, if we connect this to the bigger picture, these North American figures, especially the steady growth, they aren't just about, new builds. They really suggest robust ongoing infrastructure development and perhaps significant replacement cycles in these more established economies.
Oh, the replacement factor. Good point.
Yeah, it hints at major investments in maintaining and upgrading existing systems, maybe swapping out older, less durable materials like metal or concrete with modern plastic alternatives.
Makes sense. Okay, shifting gears. Let's explore the European market.
You're right.
It was valued at almost $6.9 billion in 2021. It's set to grow to over $12.1 billion by 2033, with a regional CAGR of nearly 5%. So pretty similar overall growth to North America.
Close, yeah. 4.996%.
And when we unpack the country-level details, Germany actually leads in Europe with a strong CAGR of over 5.4%. It's looking to nearly double its market size by 2033.
Germany's strong.
The United Kingdom also shows robust growth, over 5.2% CAGR. Then we also see, significant activity in places like France, Italy, and Russia, all contributing to this, diverse regional picture.
Different speeds, though.
Different speeds, exactly. And here's a surprising fact. The category called Rest of Europe actually boasts the highest European CGR at 5.845%.
Huh. That is fascinating, that variance within Europe.
Yeah.
What jumps out here is just the diverse economic and infrastructural landscapes across the continent, right? It really raises an important question. Why might some European countries, like you said, Germany and the UK, be growing faster than others in this sector?
What do you think?
Well, it tells us a lot about their individual investment priorities, perhaps tied to, modernization efforts, maybe specific environmental regulations driving shifts in material.
Regulation, yeah.
Or just differing rates of urban expansion. And that rest of Europe number outperforming suggests, well, considerable investment maybe in emerging markets within the continent, or perhaps regions with less developed infrastructure catching up.
Interesting possibilities. Okay, now let's focus on the growth engine of this market, the Asia-Pacific region.
Oh, yes, the big one.
This is not only the largest market globally, but just an absolute powerhouse of growth. Sales were over $11.3 billion back in 2021.
Already massive.
And they are forecasted to skyrocket to over $21.9 billion by 2033. That gives it the highest regional CGR of over 5.8%.
5.811%, leading the pack.
Exactly. And when we drill down into key countries, China, well, it's a massive contributor. Its market value is set to nearly double by 2033.
No surprise there, given the scale.
But prepare for this. India demonstrates the highest CAGR of any country listed in the report, a whopping 6.296%.
Wow, over 6%.
Yeah, projected to more than double its market by 2033. Japan is still significant, of course, and we see strong momentum across the entire region, South Korea, Australia, Southeast Asia.
Here's where it truly gets compelling, I think. Asia-Pacific's numbers are, like you said, staggering. They don't just reflect urbanization. They signal massive, often coordinated efforts in new infrastructure projects, sometimes on a scale we just haven't seen before.
Right. Building whole cities almost.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Think about vast new cities being built literally from the ground up, or enormous industrial zones requiring extensive piping for water, waste, even chemicals. It's about fundamental, transformative development. And it's happening faster and more broadly there than anywhere else in the world. They're literally laying the groundwork for how billions of people will live and work in the coming decades.
Quite a picture.
Yeah.
Okay, let's turn our attention now to South America, another region showing pretty robust growth.
Yes. Also strong numbers there.
Revenue stood at nearly $1.9 billion in 2021. It's expected to more than double to over $4.1 billion by 2033. That's a strong regional CGR of 5.362%.
Very healthy.
Highlighting the leading countries. Brazil's the largest in the region. Its market is projected to more than double by 2033 as well.
Brazil's a major player.
And Colombia, perhaps surprisingly, shows the highest CGR in the region, an impressive 5.523%.
Colombia. Okay, interesting dynamic there too.
Yeah. We also see significant activity across Argentina, Peru, and Chile.
What really stands out here, I think, is the consistent strong growth across many South American countries. It signals, significant development and investment in foundational services and infrastructure.
Foundational's the key word, maybe.
I think so. It's often tied to expanding populations and growing industrial bases in these emerging markets. It feels less about replacement, like in North America maybe, and more about foundational builds, bringing essential services like clean water and proper sanitation to wider populations. And plastic pipes are, well, ideally suited for that because they're cost-effective and durable.
Right, makes a lot of sense. Okay, finally, we arrive at the Middle East and Africa. Let's first look at the Middle East market.
Okay.
It generated over $1.3 billion in 2021 and is expected to reach nearly $2.2 billion by 2033. Now, the CAGR here is almost 3.6%. That's actually the lowest regional growth rate we've seen so far.
Yeah, 3.591%, noticeably lower.
But still substantial in absolute terms, of course. Key countries include Saudi Arabia, Turkey, and the UAE, which actually has the highest SGR within the region at almost 4%.
Interesting. So this does raise an important question, doesn't it? Why might the Middle East growth be comparatively lower than, say, Asia-Pacific or South America, yet still pretty substantial?
What's your take?
Well, it could suggest a different stage of development. Perhaps it's more focused on large-scale planned megaprojects rather than that sort of widespread continuous growth across the entire region.
The specific city builds or industrial zones?
Exactly. It could also reflect efforts at economic diversification, specific infrastructure investments tied to new industrial zones or massive tourism hubs that affect plastic pipe demand differently than, say, broad residential expansion.
That fits. Okay, and then we have Africa, valued at around $782 million in 2021, projected to grow to over 1.3 billion by 2033. The CAGR there is almost 4.1%.
4.098%, so a bit higher than the Middle East.
Yeah, and within Africa, Nigeria shows strong growth at over 4.3%, while South Africa is also significant, though slightly lower growth, around 3.9%.
So if we connect this all back to the bigger picture, the varied growth across all these really diverse regions, it just highlights the different stages of infrastructure development and investment globally, doesn't it?
It really does.
You've got the mature markets of North America and parts of Europe where, replacement and upgrades seem key. Then you have the rapidly developing economies of Asia Pacific, South America, and parts of Africa where entirely new systems are being built. Each area is contributing to that global total, but through its own unique drivers and demands for essential services.
Well, that's quite a journey through the numbers. It really it brings home the impressive global growth, yes, but also the surprisingly dynamic nature of the plastic pipe industry.
Absolutely.
It just goes to show how looking at specific data points from something seemingly, well, unassuming can reveal so much more than just a general headline. This really helps us understand the pulse of global development, I think.
I completely agree. These projections aren't just dry numbers on a spreadsheet, are they? They are powerful indicators of, global progress, ongoing urbanization, and how resources are being strategically allocated worldwide. They reflect where people are moving, where industries are expanding, and where fundamental services are being built or upgraded. Ultimately, what this deep dive into plastic pipes reveals is not just growth, but maybe a profound global reorientation. It feels like we're seeing a world investing in resilience and efficiency at a very granular level, far below the headlines. It indicates a kind of silent but massive shift in how societies are building their future.
Who knew the plumbing under our streets was telling such a dramatic global story? Honestly. This deep dive has truly shown us the impressive global growth, yes, the standout performance of regions like Asia Pacific and South America, and just the diverse growth engines humming across different continents.
It's fascinating stuff.
It's a powerful reminder that even the most seemingly mundane industries are deeply intertwined with the grand narratives of our time.
And maybe as you, the listener, go about your day, I'd encourage you to consider what this sustained and varied growth in plastic pipe demand truly means. Think about global resource consumption, our sustainability efforts, and just the ongoing evolution of essential infrastructure over the next decade and beyond.
Good point.
It raises some really important questions, I think, about material science and the future of our urban environments. Questions we'll certainly be exploring in future deep dives.
Definitely food for thought.
Yeah.
A huge thank you for joining us on this deep dive today. We really hope it encourages you to continue your own explorations into how seemingly small industries connect to these massive global trends.
Thanks for listening.
Until next time, keep digging deeper.